Live, Twitter, Periscope, and I think we're live on Twitch. So we're live 6 places right now. So we're giving it a little second. And I'll try to see if people comment. Sometimes they do, and sometimes I forget. So everyone, I think by this point, people are they're tuning in. I see somebody already looking. So hello. As you know, you're on one of my pages. I am Yolanda Shoshana, and this is my live stream. And this is an episode of Sippin with Shakespeare. Those of you who follow me know I love me some Shakespeare, and I love booze. So it's all about booze and bard tonight. And I'm so excited. I have two very fabulous guests. I have Amy and Rob here, and we are going to be talking about their fabulous liqueur, Ortolan Rosolio, which they have both created, and we are pairing it with Midsummer Night's Dream. Welcome, you two. Hello.
Hello. Thank you.
All right, before we jump into it, I do want both of you to kind of talk about your backgrounds. For those of you, I met Amy when she was doing wine. She was wine witching, so we met when she was in the wine world, and now she's got this fabulous liqueur. So one of you start off. Maybe Amy, go for it.
Sure. Happy to start off. Well, thank you. We're really excited to do this. Rob and I have been talking about it for a couple weeks, and yeah, I'm glad that you and I have been friends for quite a bit of time. I have spent my entire career in the wine and spirits industry ever since my first internship in college in various marketing and branding roles. And Rob and I have been friends for about 4 years or a little over that. And he showed me this beautiful elixir several years ago at a dinner party. He kind of just like shoved it in front of me and he's like, oh, I wonder what you think of this. And he was like, Rob's a culinary master. Yes, that's the Ortolan. And he was making this like delicious uni pasta from scratch. And I'm just kind of like staring over his shoulder, like, what are you doing? And then he shows this like pink drink in front of me. And I'm like, this is interesting. And then last year he reached out and he's like, hey, I've been showing this around. I want you to taste it again. You know, just tell me what you think. And I tasted it and I stopped because I thought it was just absolutely beautiful. I felt so privileged because I got to taste the first iteration, and then he worked on the second iteration. And that's like a perfect seg into Rob wanting to hear me say you shouldn't do this, but instead I said you should absolutely do this, and however I can help you, I'm at your disposal.
Oh, so cool.
I'll lob it over to Rob.
Okay, Rob, tell us a little bit more about you. And you cook like that? I need to, when I come on the county, I'm coming through.
You gotta follow him on his Instagram. It's like,
oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Berkeley, California, and I've always been involved in food and wine, and I started working in restaurants here when I was 13 or so, and we were just really in the sort of like California food movement. Like, I think my parents went to Chez Panisse on the second night it opened, and we're friends with all these people. And Jeremiah Tower is like a mentor to me and would hang out all the time at our house in our rose garden. And it partly, I think, you know, because of him, he would cook with our roses and stuff. And so I learned about them not just being, you know, something that look and smell nice, but also sort of like an ingredient. So yeah, I worked in restaurants, like, you know, through college. I also worked up in Napa at some wineries. And then I lived in Italy after college for a while. And then went to London to do a master's. And then I worked in finance for about 8 years there. Meanwhile, I kept up all the traveling and spent a lot of time in Italy and France, and I got my WSET diploma, and then I went and then left finance, went and worked in at a winery in Sicily, worked on boats, and also just really, when I was in London, and because of my time in Italy, I would make limoncellos and nocinos and amaros, and I really wanted to make. While I was sailing, I went and did all this research up in northern Italy and the French Alps, and really wanted to make a California Amaro when I came back. And I came back after doing all this work and was like, this is a horrible idea.
Wait, Why did you think that was a horrible? So I did not mention though that the Rosolio is made from roses. Just to give you context, I forgot to mention that, everybody.
Yeah.
But
Thank you.
we'll get to that. But why did you think that making a California Amaro was a bad idea?
I think it's just because there's so many great ones already out there.
And everybody's got an Amaro.
Yeah, and everyone has their favorite one, and it's not a huge market. They sit on the shelf for a really long time, and even though they're all very unique, and I think the one I make is very unique. They're all very unique. So differentiating, while it's possible, it's like, oh, you have the Amaro that you go to. I love Amaro, but sort of doing it as a commercial enterprise. After doing all the research and seeing all these great ones, I was like, it's tough.
So how did you get back to the Rosolio, and tell people what it is, because I was not familiar and I'm excited.
Okay, so I learned all these techniques. I came back here, and then my mom had a health issue, and I came and was looking after her in the same house with this rose garden and going a little crazy. It was the summer, and I started applying the same sort of techniques to a lot of things in our garden, but the roses being one of the main ones. Made this stuff, like forgot about it, and then tasted it and was like, oh wow, this smells like the garden. It's not. So we make it out of a bunch of different garden roses, about 25 varieties or so, and they all have different scents and different flavors and different colors. And most rose products are only made out of one type of rose, or they're completely not natural, and it's a very singular taste. We say grandmother's bathwater, but I mean, I don't like those products. So I was really surprised that I liked this.
Right.
Yeah. And so then I was like, oh my God, like someone must have made this before. Like this isn't that crazy, and roses aren't like some super exotic flower. And so I started doing research, and it turns out that there was this category of liqueurs in Italy that have largely died out, but they were very popular from like the 1600s to the 1900s. They were a luxury item, and they were so Rosolio is a category that I describe, or we describe, as a non-bitter bitter. So it's like an Amaro, but without the bitter components. And so it's a more lifted aperitif-y style thing. They don't have to be made of roses. In Torino, it's traditional for them to be made of roses. But despite the name, they can be made of really any sort of botanical. And it's kind of like a light aperitif, or, postprandial.
Yes, I get that. Okay.
Yeah, and so Amy and I really worked on developing this into be something that is sort of a modern take on that tradition. And so we developed this to be something that can mix really well with pretty much any spirit, and then a little bit of citrus, and you get a very, very complex drink. Rosolio, historically, they were just sipped, chilled, neat. And we think it's great that way. But the thing that's really fun for us is like all the different applications of this and just how versatile it is. So I guess I gave the story of the Rosolio as well as my background a bit there, but
you intertwined it, and I think it makes sense. So now, there aren't a lot of these on the market, I'm assuming, at this point. Like,
well, there's one called Italicus, which is made of mostly bergamot. So it's
I know that.
It's a very good product. It tastes very different to ours, because we're making it out of all these heirloom roses and things. And then in Italy, especially in like Sicily and southern parts, you can go and like in bakeries, they might have some Rosolios that are made of like carob and cinnamon and fennel. But and then there are a few very, very small ones, but it's more of like most Italians don't know what a Rosolio is when I talk.
Okay, no, I hear you. So, Amy, so
Yes.
what made you, okay, I know why Rob is here.
Yes.
What made you say, I am gonna jump from wine to do this? What was it for you? I mean, I know it tastes great, so maybe I know that's part of it, but what else?
So I was finishing my MBA, and I actually did work in spirits as a part of my like career path. And spirits,
No idea. Once again, you find out stuff about people.
I'm sorry, and I like breezed right through my entire background because it's
I know.
there's a
I
lot.
know. I got you.
Yeah, no, I did. I love this industry. Wine, spirits, craft beer. I've chosen to be in this my entire life for a reason. So I was finishing my MBA. Rob and I were chatting. I said, look, as I can advise, help, however I can help you, like I'm happy to do that. And then a couple weeks later, I called him because as I was finishing my MBA, you're doing that. What do I want next in my career? And I asked him if he would entertain the idea of having a co-founder. And then he said yes.
I was like, hell yeah. No, I had asked her to taste it.
What do you do that's different? Like, what are your roles per se? How do you work as partners? Like, who does what?
Well, we kind of do a little bit. We all do a little bit of everything, but I'm really focused on the brand and the marketing and the PR and some of the operations and helping forge that path. And then Rob is, he's the president. He's the ops guy. He's
I mean, the truth is we both do everything.
Right. You're small.
Yeah, but I mean, the way that we talk about it is, I do all of this stuff to get it. I'm sort of more responsible for all of this stuff to get it into the bottle, and then Amy's responsible for the stuff after it's in the bottle. But in truth, I mean, I'm a graphic designer now as well. Like, so we're doing everything.
So your mom kept up this rose garden all this time. Your mom was really into roses, I'm assuming, because
yeah. I mean, these here actually, I decided to do the thing from their house. So these are the sorts of roses, and they're lots of different colors. This isn't the largest bouquet, but she has always done this. I mean, we have always had a large portion of our garden dedicated to roses, and I grew up with them and sort of like to cut them and care for them a little bit, and so
the softer side of Rob. So
I mean,
why did you pick A Midsummer Night's Dream? I kind of figure I know, but what about Midsummer Night's Dream speaks to you when you think of this libation?
Amy, do you want me to?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love your analogy.
I mean, when I heard about this, I was like, we're doing Midsummer Night's Dream. Like, that's the one for this. And, I mean, I guess we could have said Romeo and Juliet with, Rose by any other name or whatever, but that's boring. This is Midsummer Night's Dream. It's just a really fun play that's, not serious. And it's really fantastical and has these it has a potion that's made from flowers in it, the love potion. It's got a great quote about a rose distilled, which this is roses distilled. And I mean, I think that although it's just a really fun play, there's a lot going on in different sorts of relationships, and it's sort of about the mutability of love. And maybe we should show you now, but our drink actually, because of the pigments in the roses, also has these two sides to it. Should I, Amy, do you want me to do it?
Okay. Talk about your relationship to this as he's starting to make the cocktail. What's your relationship with Midsummer Night's Dream?
Sure. Well, so I it's like, for me, it was like a little bit of a sillier play, but I like the fact that it explores the duality between fantasy and reality, and that love is like, could it be fleeting, or is love, what is love? So the whole idea of love. And I also love, like, I was thinking about the connection between a lot of Shakespeare's plays and the play on alchemy, and how alchemy plays such a huge role in a lot of his works. And when Rob was describing this potion, and I was reading that passage, and like, this fits perfectly. But I also like the absurdity of what's happening in the play, because it's like, it's crazy.
Very crazy fairies.
Well, and then also, like, we were talking about, like, okay, so like, I thought that the king and the queen fairies were married, but Rob explained that they're not. So I'm like, okay, so there's like a little modern twist. Like, why, if they're together, is he like wanting her to like go with somebody else?
Crazy wild fairies.
And then it's like, this love potion gets out of control, and like everybody's in love with each other, and it's wreaking havoc. And then there's just like,
that's what you all need to make next, so that we all just love each other.
I love that. Well, that's actually like the central, like, one of the, like, the ethos of like what we do is we just want to make beautiful drinks that taste really good. We bring a little beauty to the world.
Rob, what's in that glass? That's looking.
Okay, so actually, so there it is. Here, let's see. I think
Yep.
the lighting could be better.
It's all good.
But so it's just the Ortolan Rosolio in there. And now, can you see? Whoops. So now I'm squeezing lime in.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to.
Color. We're about to seal it.
Yeah. And I'll give it a stir in 1 sec. And hopefully I won't drop anything.
So that's just a little lime, right? That's what you told me to add, like a little lime.
Yeah, a little lime. Okay, so now I'm going to give it a stir.
Okay.
And it's changing colors right now, which you might or might not be able to see.
Imagine if
yeah, so the drink is sort of an amber salmon-y color, and then if you add acidity to it, it turns a bright pink. Which I don't know. I should probably hold up like an example.
No, it's all good. That's great.
Kind of reflected in the label too. So the label's intentional. The matte pink.
I get it.
A nod to the color before, and then the bright pink is a nod to the color after you add acid to it.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
So, I know you have different drinks on your website, but can you talk about some of the cocktail? Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you want to see the difference in color.
Yeah.
I totally get
it a little better.
Yeah, I can see the difference. So, like, I think this, of course, would be great for brunch, great for weddings, great for Valentine's Day, instead of pumping up all this other stuff. But like, I think it also would make like a really great margarita. Do you have a margarita recipe on your site? Because I think it'd be great with tequila.
We don't have it on the site, but we have made a margarita with it. And delicious. And I've also made alcohol margaritas. We wanted to create, like, when we were playing with it, we wanted to complement classic cocktails. And even though it's a luxury liqueur, it's still very approachable and fun to work with because of the color change and the fact that, like, the flavor profile lends itself so nicely to a bunch of different cocktails. So we just say have fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, we're still, being surprised at the substitutability of it. So, like, it actually substitutes really well in place of Campari. I mean, so any drink with, like, Campari, Aperol,
like
Violet.
For somebody who loves a Negroni. So a Negroni with this, you're thinking, what would
I
you
was just having one.
How would you make that? What would you put in it?
So the way that I like to do it is, I mean, classic Negroni, like 1 to 1 to 1. So we use a gin, like a London Dry, like, and then 1 part Ortolan. And then I actually use like half a part of I like to use Dolan Blanc, but like a white vermouth. You could use like Koki if you wanted to.
Nice. That sounds good. And I have white vermouth. I'm okay. I'm asking you because I'm trying to make this shit myself. That sounds good. I told you this is to be my Saturday situation.
Yeah.
When okay, who's your favorite character in A Midsummer Night's Dream? Amy?
Oh gosh, my favorite character?
Mm-hmm.
I like Oberon.
Oh, why? I'm a little
power.
because you're like, you're all about the power. You're like, okay. You went right.
All the power. Where did that? What's going on there?
Okay.
I like her. I can't say her name. Hermea.
Yeah.
Hermea. Yeah.
Hermea.
Terrible with these names.
And well, me too. And Rob, do you have a favorite character? Okay, we also have to talk about the fact that you kind of was Shakespeare like pushed down your throat when you were growing up? Literature in general?
Well, no, it wasn't pushed down my throat. My dad was an English professor at Berkeley, and he grew up in the north of England. Maybe it was pushed down my throat. He grew up not too far from Stratford. And we would go back a fair amount, and I have memories of going to the Royal Shakespeare Company, and
nice.
then we were really young, and we went to find about 12, I think. We went to find the Globe Theatre in London, and it hadn't been redone, or maybe it was the Swan, one of the others, and a building had been built on top of where it was, and so we were poking around, and some security guard took us down to the basement and was like, "Here is where it was."
Oh no, that's traumatizing.
Yeah, and then at my elementary school, my sixth grade teacher, but in fifth grade, the fifth graders would put on a Shakespeare production, and it was taught by Sheila Singleton. And we did a comedy of errors. I think that my sister.
You remember her whole name?
Oh yeah, totally. She was awesome. She's amazing. So we did a lot of Shakespeare here, and they, Shakespeare in the Park sort of stuff, like you were talking about. Yeah.
My favorite.
Meanwhile, I needed a tutor for Chaucer, so
I think we all needed a tutor for Chaucer. Do you have Amy? Do you have a favorite Shakespearean show? It doesn't have to be A Midsummer Night's Dream. It can be any one of them.
Yes, I think Othello is one of my favorites.
It's so great.
Yes,
it's a good one.
And Ophelia is one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
She was in Othello, right?
Oh, no, that's Hamlet.
Hamlet. Sorry. Well, I like Othello, but I like Ophelia as a character.
It's okay. But no, Rob, do you have a favorite show?
Oh, I don't know. Henry IV, Part 1.
Wow, you really went deep. You were like, if you do all that, then you just.
Prince Hal, pretty cool character.
So, you all won an award for this. Am I correct? You won an award, or
which part? The actual booze or the packaging? Or
I don't, whatever. Because it's both. I mean, it's great.
Amy,
oh, you want me to go? Oh, yeah. So we won a couple awards actually, which we were really.
Tell me about them. Okay.
We won a packaging award at the San Francisco World Spirits Competition, and we won a gold International Bartender Spirits Awards for the product, and then we also won for the product at the New York International Spirits Competition. We got a silver for that.
That's great. How are bartenders taking this? I mean, I'm assuming you've kind of been working with some or talking to some about this. Are they loving it? Are they like, ooh, I can put this in some fancy cocktail? Or
yes. So the reception that we've received has been stunning. We're really happy that people like it, because when you're sitting there and you like something, but you don't know if people are going to like it. And I remember the first appointment that we got, it was courtesy of one of Rob's connections, and it was our number one account in San Francisco, and it happened to be 3 Michelin-starred restaurant. And I was like, I've been on my series of appointments, so I'm just I don't know how this is going to go, but I'm going to maintain positivity. And then we tasted him through. It was our first ever appointment, and he's the guy. I mean, he was just so excited to share it with his head bartender so that they can play with it, and then possibly feature it on the cocktail menu. Right. And he's like, yeah, I'll take 2 cases. And Rob and I were like, Okay. I have like a super game face on too because I have to like.
Oh, yeah, you're like, okay, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
And then Rob, like, he like walks away, and Rob was like, "How do you think we did?" And I'm like, straight face. I'm like, just play it cool until we get out of here.
Yeah.
As we walk outside, I start doing the dance.
Yeah, that's pretty great. That's good.
We were excited because that sort of kicked off what we think the momentum has been for the brand itself. So every bartender that we've shown it to has really taken a liking to it because it's so unique and like the playfulness of it, and like they can make be so creative with it.
Yeah, so. Yeah. Like I really can see this in a bunch of luxury cocktails, fancy stuff. So how has it been during COVID? Like, how have you navigated? I know it's not easy.
I mean,
yeah. How do you navigate?
I think that, when you ask, when you ask about bartenders, and them working with it, I think that the difficulty is that bartenders aren't working much. And so, this is a really unique drink. And people don't know what it is because they haven't tried it. And so, we've had to shift to retail, and we've got our e-commerce site. But I think with COVID, it's been hard because we're not getting it out there as much as we would if on-premise were really open, right. And bartenders playing with it and all of that. But at the same time, we're developing a sort of base and getting a lot of traction in I think within the industry as well. As our feedback from our retailers is that not a lot of people grab it off the shelf because they don't know what it is. They might grab it off and look at it, but the people that do buy it end up coming back and buying more of it. So, that's great. And I mean, I think, I've heard a number of people tell me that, now they only make their margaritas with it.
I can see that.
So I mean, we're optimistic. And we want things to open up, and
slowly we're getting there. So I'm assuming are you mainly in California now? This product is mainly in California right now, like in a store, but people can order it online?
Yes. You want me to take this? Okay. So we are now, any day now, able to ship not only in California, but also to 39 states. So
would New York be one of them?
Yes.
Okay.
New York will be one of them.
For myself and a friend, I don't know.
And many other friends.
Yes.
So we're really excited about that. Like Rob was saying, we were focusing primarily, obviously, on the on-premise. And then as soon as shelter in place happened, I mean, we had to quickly shift. And then we had to quickly find an e-com partner. And they've been great. And they satisfied our California needs. But then we also had people writing to us saying, where can I buy? Can I buy it in Colorado? Can I buy it in New York? Can I buy it in Chicago? So now on our website, there are 2 buttons. One, buy in California, and the other one is buy everywhere else. And the buy everywhere else will be shipped. But in California, depending on your location, if you're in LA, San Francisco, or Napa, there's local delivery available. Or it can be shipped within California from one of our various retail partners. That's through that network. But all you have to do is just click on the button, order away, and then you get your product.
I love that. That's awesome. That's so cool. Yeah. That's exciting. That's very exciting. Very exciting.
Yeah. And we've also sort of found with the people that are buying it, like, I think there's a bit of a home mixology sort of thing happening. So the 2 trends that we've seen during COVID is, one, people are either going to their standard things just for comfort, or they're looking to discover something new. And this is a pretty fun thing for them to discover. So they tell other people about it. And you can do, some pretty cool things with it. So.
Oh yeah, I think so. Like, I feel like it's so versatile, but even just by itself, if you're like, I don't feel like doing anything because I'm being lazy.
Well, that's the way we like people drinking it, because that means they're drinking more of it. So.
But then it also means, like, if I love, like, because that's my thing, like, if I can drink something pure because I tend to like things neat, that means it's really good. Like, I love the taste And I love roses, and it's like, and the smell of it is. Did you work with anybody on the smell of it, or it's just the roses that you pick and you? Because I know some people work with perfumers or institutes. To
no. So this is a 100% like natural, like, you know, I know natural doesn't have a lot of meaning, but the ingredients that we use in this are different types of roses that have different scents. Like I said, we actually wanted to stay away from that typical rose profile. Mm-hmm. So roses that have that sort of a scent, or that kind of like Crabtree and Evelyn smell, the sort of things that one associates with like soap or perfume, we stay away from those. So we go for things with like, you know, either like really like fresh scents, or you know, some of them have a real clove sort of thing going on. It's also sort of honeyed. And then we also had a few other botanicals that make up, you know, we're talking less than 3% of the total blend. Some
of which Rob and I did hand peel ourselves. So there's a little bit of our hard work and part of the smell.
Oh, wow.
The for this stuff is like, it's hilarious. I mean, because I think it comes from my culinary background. It's like, if you use the best ingredients possible, then you're going to get the best product possible. And so, you know, we're getting these like citrus from like this old couple that based in Fresno, like that farm completely organically, all these weird varieties of citrus, and then, you know, we're peeling them by hand because I'm like,
sounds like it's a reality show waiting to happen. I'd watch.
Oh yeah, we do. That would be fun, especially one of our goals is how do we answer the cops if we get pulled over on one of our rose runs?
Yeah. Rose run.
Our rose run to SoCal to pick up our load, you know, because it's like Rob's truck that's got full coolers.
It's filled with it's, you know, we're toting 400, 500 pounds of roses up, you know, in all these coolers, and it's like it looks like drugs or something.
And you're like, what are you doing? It's like, I'm making.
I kind of want it to happen, but actually, I don't think it'd actually be fun when it does.
So before I let you two go, I got to talk about pairings, because I'm all about pairings and food.
Okay.
Okay. So say I'm drinking this by itself, like on, you know, with some ice. What would you think would be a good pairing? And like some of your cocktails, what would be good pairings? Food wise.
Food wise, I mean, bizarrely, it goes really well with briny things.
Okay.
So
oysters.
Yeah, like oysters. I mean, especially if the balance just somehow they complement each other because they're so different. Mm-hmm. And there is a little bit of a savory aspect to the Rosolio, like that. The depth. The other things that if you were, I mean, like chickeny sort of things, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend, you know, having it with, you know, a main course. I think that it's more of an aperitif or an after dinner drink. And there are a few different sort of after dinner drinks that, like, I mean, obviously this would go really well with like in something with cream for a dessert.
Okay.
And fruit. We also, I mean, we like to mix it with like Armagnac or Cognac or Calvados, kind of 1-to-1.
You know, I love Cognac. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, no, it's, I mean,
with Cognac, interesting.
Yeah, so it really isn't. I mean, the immediate impression is you think of it as like a daytime kind of like mix it with champagne, like, or, you know, do a style thing, or, but doing it, you know, we call it Ortolan day and Ortolan night. The night drinks are ones with, you know, like serious spirits, and they're really good.
Okay, can we back up? So what do you do with Cognac? You just mix it with Cognac? Done? You mix anything else? I'm trying.
1-to-1.
Okay.
And you can shoot it with a napkin over your head if you want.
It's called the ground Ortolan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I got so much cognac in my apartment. I'm like, I'm gonna actually have to order another bottle. Y'all are giving me all these ideas. I'm gonna have to get a bottle myself. Oh my God. But okay, but say you said not necessarily with the meal, but like if I make a Ortolan margarita, can't I have that with my tacos?
Oh, for sure. Okay. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're doing like Mexican food, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I mean, I think that with like the sweetness actually would pair pretty well with like some Chinese food as well.
That's good.
Like,
that's good. I like that.
And then that floral, especially in like spicy food, it's actually it cuts. So again, it's it's sort of however you want to have it and whenever you want to have it. That's the thing about this. Yeah.
I love it. Okay.
The one thing not to pair it with is a peaty scotch.
That just doesn't work out. No.
I mean, it makes the scotch sweet, but the peat's so strong you don't get all the perfumes. So. Okay.
Fair enough.
I'm a gin girl, and one of our favorite drinks is called the Narrow Way, and it's basically gin, Ortolan, and then Castelvetrano olives, which like I can have for a meal. So it's another like
on a hard day dinner.
The Narrow Way, please.
Okay, I love it.
Yeah, Amy, you got to say the quote. Tell Yolanda the quote.
There's a quote.
Rob, can you say it because my brain?
Yeah. So it's from the poem is called. There's a poem by Anne Bronte called "The Narrow Way." Okay. It has a quote in it that we often use, and it's about the drink. And it is, but he who dares not grasp the thorn should never crave the rose.
I have seen that quote. I love that quote.
Yeah.
That is, I think that should be applied in all of life. I love that.
We are applying it during COVID times daily. Grasping the thorn.
Any other fun facts you want us to know about your fabulous drink? I love it. I think it's amazing. Congratulations to you too.
I'm glad you like it.
And I'm going to ask you one more. Oh, go ahead, Rob.
One other fun fact is, when you're in the club, because we're all in the club all the time these days, the label under blacklight also does some magic trick. So.
Oh, does it? Okay.
Oh, yeah. So.
Amy, what are you? And move it over, girl. You're like all out of this. You're out of the.
Yeah.
I know. I think
maybe you're outside. The black light isn't gonna. You need to be in the dark.
Folks, don't try this at home.
Yeah.
Amy, what are you doing?
I'm ending the show on a really positive dance.
All right, I have one more Shakespeare question. Both of you, I want to know who your favorite Shakespearean actor is. Rob, you go first.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, stop it. Really? Stop it.
Oh, no, Kenneth Branagh. Who do you want me to say?
Well, that's fine. If it's Leo, that's fine, which means you just stop watching Shakespearean movies altogether.
The guy who does Falstaff.
Amy, Rob, enough.
I love Kenneth Branagh.
Okay.
He is like, wow. And I also love Emma Thompson, but to be honest, I'm not sure if she's been in any Shakespeare.
Well, she was in everything he did when they were married. So yeah, they were married. Remember, long time ago, and now they're divorced.
Were they really? Okay.
Oh God, they were married. Yes.
I think their acting is just like I love.
Well, she's amazing, and she seems like she's such a fucking hoot. Like she's just funny. Well, this has been amazing. I want to thank you both for coming on and fun, and thank you for sharing this and sending this to me because I'm excited because now I have something to do over the weekend.
Yeah, and Yolanda, if you come up with any drinks, like let us know.
I will. Yes. I do, and I play around with stuff all the time, so I will definitely let you know.
And obviously, we'll give you full credit. And then also, who do I have to talk to about getting Ophelia into Othello? Like,
you know what? You can just do that yourself. He's dead. We can do whatever we want now. He's gone. Well, thank you, people, for tuning in. Wherever platform you're on, please leave comments and all that good stuff. And there'll be more. And I will see you all soon. And as I always say, peace, love, and cheers.
Cheers.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to slowly sign off because all the platforms are a little different, kind of like when we started. So bye.
Bye.
Da, 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 da.